Hello everyone, I'm creating this short video just to show you some different children's books and to make a connection between why understanding a child's developmental level is important when you're considering the type of book that you're going to read with the child. So this first book here is considered indestructible, and it has different pictures in there. Something else to consider that will be discussed in a future video is what kind of pictures are displayed. And so here we see children of different complexions within the pictures. But what's important about this book is it's almost indestructible. You can see I'm trying to tear it, and it's not that easy to do. This is also a book that if a child were to put it in their mouth, you could easily wash it and sanitize it and everything. So this book would be developmentally appropriate for younger children who are still putting things within their mouth, that are still maybe rough with books, because we want to encourage children to be using books and playing with books and having experiences with books, but at the same time we don't want all of our books to be destroyed. So an indestructible book, a similar type of book, there's other plastic ones, cloth ones, that also could be really good. Then you get into what's considered board books, and this is a bigger board book. As you can see here, it's kind of thick. And so this board book has simple words. There's only a little bit of writing in there. There's different pictures, and this one actually relates to counting. So this one, again, you might want to use with a child who is maybe learning how to count, maybe doesn't understand that one-to-one correspondence, but that's okay. But again, it's a board book. This one's a little more sturdy than paperbacks if a child was to bite on it. The pages are a little bit easier for children to turn because they're thick, so something else to consider. We also have smaller board books such as this one, and this can be a lot of fun for children when you want to start asking them some questions. This book in general is a rhyming book, which again you can tie to developmental needs of children. But what's really kind of nice about this book is there's these little flaps, and so you can use these as kind of questioning. Oh, what do you think is going to happen? Oh, did it work? You know, that kind of thing. So you can ask those kind of probing questions with the child as you're reading with them. But something you have to consider is because there are these different flaps here, like for instance this one, you have to be gentle enough with it that you're not tearing them off. And so that's something to consider also when you're working with children. But remember that even little hands, they sometimes will do more damage than what they've meant to do. So tearing a book is not uncommon at all. Here's a bigger board book. Again, this might be for a child, again, needing some help with, or just needing practice because they haven't developed those skills of being able to turn the pages. And so there's not a lot of writing on this one, but there's a lot of pictures. So this would be a great book for discussions with children, this type of book, okay? Then we get to books that might be more appropriate for preschool children. This one has a specific topic. It's talking about tooth trouble, and so this book talks about going to the dentist. But when you look, there's more writing on the pages. So these kind of books are you're going to want to read to a child with a longer attention span. I would not suggest this for younger children as there's too much words on the pages that you would be reading. However, if you're telling the story yourself just by the pictures, then go for it. But if you actually wanted to read the words that were there, then that's something you'd want to consider. Something else to consider is you see how those words are written. They're not the typical type font, and so that might be a little challenging for some kids who are beginning to read just because of the way the letters are shaped. And so again, something to consider. Then we come with these books here, and so this is considered a chapter book. And let me get to the table of contents. So you can see there's different little chapters, okay? These books, although the characters are consistent within the book, they don't necessarily build upon each other. So I could read this book, and then I could read another book also about Frog and Toad, and they don't necessarily go together. But these are the beginning of chapter books. A lot of times these books will have an age limit on there, age guidelines, I shouldn't say limit, but you don't always have to go by these. So that's just something to consider. Again, thinking about the developmental levels of children, where they are, their attention span, their reading ability, that kind of thing. And then finally, the book I'm going to show you is this one. For this book, it is also a chapter book. This book is a little bit longer than the other chapter book I just showed you. Let me get to the table of contents. The chapters are a little bit longer. With this book series, though, the books do build upon each other. So I might read this book, and then, does it tell me which number this is? Let me show you. Several of these book series will tell you the different numbers. So for instance, there's story 1, story 2, that kind of thing. And so it kind of builds upon each other. Sometimes the character might get a new brother, a new sister, a pet, something like that. And so reading the books in order kind of help. These kind of books I used to enjoy reading to my students at the beginning of class for the first couple minutes, and then we might go through a book series, that kind of thing. But again, I just wanted to show you some of the different books. This kind of book would definitely be appropriate for, you know, a young school-age child, whereas this one, probably not. This kind of book would be appropriate for an infant, whereas this one, probably not. Again, just considering the developmental needs of the child, considering where they are developmentally and their ability to talk, their attention span, their interest in the books. You know, this book here might be great for a child who likes dinosaurs, but for one who doesn't, you might want to find a different topic book, and that's okay. So all these things you just want to consider when you're thinking about children's literature and what you're going to be reading to the child. Have a great day.